Good morning, Pat.
Hey, how's it going, Chris?
It's great to see you as always.
Thank you. Same here. Same here. Thank you. So I think we were thinking of exploring how having an addiction, no matter what that addiction is, that it can create in the person with the addiction a separation of the psyche, the emotional psyche, and the spirit. You know, if that's what one believes, as we do, I believe we believe there's a spirit within us and without us. I think the point that we were trying to make, I was trying to make earlier, was that as an active alcoholic, it was a sense of tightness I would get in my chest or in my gut when I was needing to drink, because when I drank, that would go away. I mean, it didn't go anywhere, but the alcohol had the ability, because it passes through the blood-brain barrier, as does sugar, by the way, and other stuff. Of course, alcohol is sugar. And so that symptom of drinking copious amounts of alcohol was to loosen this tightness that I would feel in my chest and gut. And then we thought we segued over to, and my ability to have any intuitive prowess or ability to know not a good choice, that's definitely off, that got affected.
Moral
It
compass.
got affected. Yeah, the moral compass gets affected, not so much by the symptom of alcoholism, but by the separation between the psyche and the spirit. Like it's had a split, a disassociation, some people might call it. And the alcohol serves its purpose. It takes the pain of that away. We are in pain when we are separated from our maker, our creator. Excuse me, sorry. So that's just a theory, although I've read things similar that, that it sort of makes sense.
Which makes a total sense for my mother's experience, because she was she was a believer. She was invested in her faith, and I think, not that I should be in a evaluating role, or anyone should be in this situation, but she was definitely a very very spiritual person. And I'm sure, she wanted the alcohol to, as you say, take that conflict away.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then you throw in the other things that go along with generational alcoholism. I think, since we're on that subject, that if your parents were unable to express themselves, and instead had a drink when their feelings were all clogged up, and and they had anger and sadness and fear and whatever else, there was just they didn't talk about it. They simply didn't talk about it. What they did say is, that neighbor of ours, Joe Schmo, Jesus, he's a pain in the ass, isn't he? I mean, they had no trouble pointing the fingers all over the place, but they couldn't seem to get the finger where it needed to go.
It's a really good point. And you said feelings were all clogged up. So
yeah,
there's this dynamic that happens with me, and I think many other people, and maybe it's universal, that when the feelings are all clogged up,
mm-hmm.
and they're so strong, not only are they clogged, but they're so strong.
Right.
You can't see anything.
Nope. Nope. Can't see anything. Geez, this is really timely, since I'm feeling like my feelings are all clogged up. Of course, I don't drink now, And I don't have any ice cream on hand. Geez, what am I going to do?
No booze, no sugar. Oh my God.
Oh boy.
Oh
I
my
guess I'll
goodness.
just have to talk it out.
Yeah, yeah. Just have to talk with a dear friend, right?
That's that's it. That's it. That's the
Well,
new that's the new ice cream sundae.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think this is so important to air out, to get out in
Too.
the open air, because I think people think, even very spiritual people think that since they're spiritual, they should always be in that zone. Well, no. I mean, I'm in the spiritual zone. I mean, I really don't know how long it is on an average day, but I would guess that I'm in a spiritual zone about 2.5, 3 seconds.
That much.
And it's a blessing, it's a gift, it's um a blessing and a gift.
Yeah.
But it doesn't last. We're not going for longevity here. We're going for
Yeah.
quality, and the quality is off the charts for
Yeah.
me. So
Yeah.
which makes me keep coming back. But I mean, I've been at this job since I was like 16 years old.
Right.
So many,
Right.
many, many decades.
Yes.
And I've been meditating since the 90s. So I'm not a beginner.
Right.
I've been working hard at this because it's been so rewarding for such a long time. So, but the gift that I've been given recently is to realize the normalcy of what human beings go through. So the things we fight against are normal
Yeah. Yeah. And to be expected.
and to be expected. And so it's
Yes.
not like we fail when we find ourselves in these less than arenas.
Right. Right.
It's just it's built it's in our DNA.
Totally.
And it's not a
Totally.
failure, or maybe it is a failure if you're going for something and you get something else. I mean, I think failure is such a horrible, horrible word, because what we end up doing with the word failure is using it on ourselves as a uh, horrible pejorative punishment. And and what ends up happening is that much of the time we haven't failed, we've just been human.
Right.
And when we use the word failure, there's this judgment that comes upon us that
Mm.
prevents us from changing the things we can, the serenity prayer, the courage to change the things we can. Because when you're
Right.
stuck in failure, you're not changing the things you can. It's not available to you when you're in that remorse.
Yeah. And maybe to use the word failure, um, maybe the only failure when we're in that place of, um, you know, wrongness or whatever, is to not realize that it's the human condition, and that now what do we do with it? How are some of the ways we can work through this thing that we're experiencing, instead of naming it and throwing it on the shelf, to really start examining what's going on. I think you and I were doing that before we began to tape this. And in that exchange that you have with someone that you trust, you can actually feel the loosening happening.
It's a great
The
word, loosening.
Yeah, that in the old days I would pour alcohol on. Now that's not an option for me. But what is an option is to be among people who hold the space, hold their hearts open. You can feel there's no judgment there. I'm not gonna try to fix you and whatever. that is worth its weight in gold. So if you didn't have that growing up, which I didn't, my parents didn't do that. My parents didn't sit around and discuss what was really going on inside of them.
And probably nobody else did either.
Nobody else did either. No, no. And actually, I think it was, to do so might have been thought of as, well, first of all, wasting time, and this, you can't waste time, because time is money. And the other thing is, it might even be considered selfish to be bringing up the things that you're struggling with. That's your struggle. Leave it there,
Yeah,
you know.
don't wallow.
Yeah, don't wallow, move on.
Yeah.
So, you know, but wait a minute, my heart's back there. Well, you'll get around to it later. You know, you're not going to need a heart to work on the assembly line at the Gillette company in South Boston, Mass. You don't need a heart for that. Just good fans.
And meanwhile, the 8 or 10-year-old in you is probably saying, but it's my heart.
Oh, forget your heart. It's just a messy organ. Oh, as long
It
as it's
causes trouble, right?
causes trouble. So I guess that's what, you know, we're kind of trying to do here, Chris, is to honor our hearts and hopefully help others to do the same. That the heart, if we can let the heart lead, we're going in the right direction.
And how
You
do we
know?
do that?
Yeah, well, that's I think that's the $64,000 question. By the way, you said 64 million. I think it was 64,000. That's how much
Well,
money is.
yeah, that's inflation.
Anyway, $64,000 back in 1955. I mean, that was a lot
You
of
could buy
bread.
a really nice house and
You
for that.
could
Yeah.
buy a house and a couple of cars.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyhow, it's really funny how much we've seen this generation, our generation. Yeah, so, you know, yes, I think that is, you know, that is what we're trying to do. It's to honor this heart. We call the heart, we could call it the soul, we could call it the spirit, in a way that gives it permission to come alive and lead us and guide us in ways that the mind, you know, it's handy, is if it's listening to the heart. If the mind is leading, it gets to be kind of messy. That's my
Oh,
experience.
I'm with you. And so this giving the soul permission to um come alive. That's
Mm.
like we really got to dig into that because I think maybe there's nobody in the world who doesn't need to do that. I don't know. I love to exaggerate, so you have to.
No, exaggerate works. You know, it works. I mean, let's say that everybody can use improvement no matter who you are, because why not? I mean, you know, reaching some pinnacle and saying, I've got the golden heart now, and oh boy, I don't have to worry about another thing. No, I don't think
Yeah, I
that
mean
happens.
that's probably never going to happen, right?
Probably never going to happen.
Yeah.
No,
But
even if we
we can train ourselves to have it be more prevalent.
and get tuned into it more, listen for it or feel it.
So how would we do
You
that?
know,
How would we train ourselves to let the heart be more
in control
in control?
or
Yeah.
leading the way. I think we talked about this before. I think that given a fairly major problem in our lives, you know, something we have to decide upon, or, you know, something we're struggling with, at least my experience has been, often the fear-based ego will be, you know, like front and center. Ready, I'm ready. Just tell me what you want. I've got the answer. And it'll be that path. But over here, there'll be this very whispering voice saying, I don't think you should do that. And it's like, what? I don't think you should do that.
Or how about there's a better way?
Yeah, there's a better way. Yeah. Or wait a little while before you make that decision.
Yeah.
Shush, shush now. Shush. Something's calling me over here. Do it, do it, do it.
Yeah, and the shushing, and so for me, it's a still small voice is what it is for me.
Exactly.
That voice is so small and so quiet that I have literally gone decades hearing it intermittently throughout these 20-year period, 30-year period. And finally, something in me says, oh yeah, I really need to do that. But it's so I guess my point is that um I guess I had a false narrative in my mind all these years that that God was going to strike something down, or make this bold thing you can't not notice it. And all the time it was the things that I noticed most in my life that God was trying to tell me
Yeah.
were whispers that I trampled over. I trampled over them over and over and over again.
Hmm.
And then for some reason, my heart was open at one point, and I thought, I I would either say my instincts have been telling me that for a long time, and I really do need to make that change. I mean, the dynamic of that, it completely eludes me. I have no idea how or why that happens, but it does. It's so this is why my experience is my authority. So
Yeah.
I don't take my authority from doctrine or dogma or scripture, although they have informed me,
Mhm.
definitely, and it's really hard to kind of separate them out. But this experience that I have of divine intervention is so compelling. I feel like how could I not invest in this? And there's always a payoff, there's always a payoff, but it's so elusive. It's so hard to define, so hard, so kind of slippery, or not slippery, but yeah, just elusive.
Yeah, I would add to that I think what happens with me when, I'm in a fix of some type, big or small. Sorry. Um, that the part of me that is very fear-based, my ego tends to go fear-based. And the fear is, you know, pretty simple. There's a part of me that doesn't want to handle my life,
Hmm.
that doesn't want to take responsibility for my life, because it's my life and I'm responsible for it. Now, not to, make me to be such a loser. Um, that comes out of a lot of history, a lot of struggle, trauma as well, so that I can and I can use that at some unconscious level. Well, that's the reason I feel the way that I do. That's the reason I don't have confidence. That's the reason, yada yada yada. I get the whole story made. It's a beautiful story.
Ironclad.
It's ironclad. Thank you. Perfect, perfect. And then over here, the little voice is saying, you can do it.
Hmm.
I'll help you. You can do it. It's so, it just doesn't feel like it has much strength. I mean, so I'm gonna almost always get pulled towards this fear place because it
Because it's
feels
so
strong,
powerful, right? Yeah.
very powerful, and it is powerful, and it's powerful in this regard. It will once again teach me my lesson.
Hmm.
I don't know that that's what it hopes for. So I'm going to say, you know, the lessons will come forever, or surrender and go over towards the other side to, you know, this small silent, this, what's the term?
Still small voice.
Still small voice, still small voice. It's still, it's not moving around. It's still. And I'm doing, you know, obviously I've been able to do that more now in my life as I've gone along. But boy, it's pretty hardwired that other part will show up and call me again, you know, and I won't be able to see the difference. And it's you know, I'm a work in progress. And that is the underpinning. The underpinning is you don't have what it takes. So that's why you got to go this way. You got to go over here.
So the society has said you don't have what it takes.
The society or my own, you know, my own narrative that I've taken on, because you know what, when you get that narrative, oh, you know, poor thing. No, not poor thing. No, you're avoiding your life. You're not taking your life on. That's the truth. Don't give me that truth. I don't want to know that truth. Is that what it is? I don't want to take my life on? Yeah, afraid so.
I mean, you've hit on something. It's so poignant, and I think most people could relate to it
I
very,
do too.
very, very, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think part of what I'm hearing both of us say maybe is the we I want to find ways to cultivate the ability to hear the whisper, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of noise in our world.
Oh, and it's getting louder all the time.
And yeah, and the more, and it's profitable too. So the more we will always, human beings will always be attracted to money
Yep.
and status
And comfort.
and comfort, right? So how do we train ourselves to hear that whisper?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, obviously, it seems like meditation would play a role, a
Yes.
big role, a big role.
How does it do that?
Well, I mean, the point, if I'm understanding meditation right, is to quiet the mind. And the mind is where scaredy cat Kaplan lives. And too much of the time, I mean, I'm really aware of that too. And I really am trying to move down into my heart all the time. If for no other reason, to give myself a break. So yeah, so meditation, obviously, I think you know this as well as anyone, Chris. Nature holds that silent voice, you know, and it whispers in the wind. It whispers in the, you know, the leaves blowing around along the ground. It whispers, hey, hey, how's it going? You're looking good today. Really? You
That's
know, it's,
fun.
yeah, let's have some fun. Come on over here. Look at this. Look at this little puddle here. This little water collection of water.
And how about that mushroom?
Oh, the mushroom. The mushroom is amazing. The one with the red dots. I really love that one.
And how about the hairy one?
The hairy one. Oh my God. Reminds me of Beethoven. So, I mean, you know, and in that is this letting down of this fear. The fear leaves, you know, and then maybe, you know, maybe we sit someplace quietly and hear the voice saying, you are my beloved. Wow. I'll take some more of that. Give me another scoop of you are the beloved. That would be nice.
And you are my beloved, and you are made in my image.
Yeah, and then the decision comes to make on something that's a struggle, and maybe the voice, comes up a little half of an octave. And you don't have to do that. I don't? No, you don't have to do that.
And you don't have to think that.
And you don't have to think that either. So
in one of our other talks, I expressed about this voice that I tried to cultivate. Do you want that for yourself? And that voice is sort of a marriage of there's God is in that voice. I don't really know how to
yes.
describe it, because I do think I know that voice that you're talking about. Hold on just one second. I gotta close the door.
Certainly. Certainly.
Yeah, so you're right. So okay, so we have basically paying attention
Yeah.
um to cultivate the hearing of the still small voice,
Yeah.
paying attention. And of course, for me, and maybe for you too, the monitoring of thoughts has been huge for me.
Yeah.
Um, so some people say we have 30,000 thoughts every day that we're unaware of.
Wow.
And it could be a lot
Yeah.
more than that. I mean, when you think
Yeah.
about it, I read Eckhart Tolle when I was, I don't know, probably in my 50s. And um, he's a brilliant man, and he has so much to offer. I just think that everybody would be wise to read him. Um, and he's all over YouTube also. Um, so
Yes.
so he talks about so many things. He talks about when you catch yourself being aware of yourself, to go into your body, put your attention into your body, and it will bring you home again. So that's
Mm.
one thing that I do. And the other thing is just like when I'm milling about doing my normal things every day, I will just say to myself, what am I thinking about?
Mm.
And there's a caution here for me, and that is that the caution is that I'm almost never thinking about what I want to think about.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
either my to-do list, or I made this list of things that I think about while I'm meditating. I'll read it to you.
Okay.
Planning my garden, looking for some good movies, replaying a conflict I have with someone, uh, stories about my life, recipes, um, stuff I want to buy on Amazon or someplace else, and resentments.
Oh, yeah. You saved the
So
best for.
yeah, so those are some of the things that I have when I'm supposed to be clearing my mind in meditation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's normal.
Yeah. Yeah, it
It's
is. Of
normal.
course,
It's nothing to punish myself over.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
just normal. But
Yeah.
but so noticing my thoughts, I can kind of um no, I was gonna say rise above. I can become aware of of um what I'm thinking. And it's humbling. It's humbling to think how um on the surface I am, and on the, how not deep I am, and
But normal.
it's normal.
Keep remembering it's
Yeah,
normal.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So is anyone starting off on the path of contemplation or meditation or contemplative prayer, you can't really make mistakes. You just show up. um, the silliness comes in. It's going to come in, and then you come back to it. You just keep coming back. There's
Yes.
there's no. It's not an opportunity to punish yourself.
Right. Right.
There are no wrong ways of doing it. You just keep coming back, and this is, as you brought up, it's a very powerful way to recognize the still small voice, and
Yes.
and get this um divine union, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I also think that coming together with someone in the way we do, you know, um, is also another excuse me, sorry, another place where the divine awaits. And this is the divine's there in every conversation. I'm gonna guess. I don't think the divine says, well, it's a good one there. Let me go over that one. They're talking turkey. These guys over here are talking baloney. So I'm gonna go to the turkey conversation. I think he, she, it, the source of all goodness is in every conversation. But what particularly happens for me in conversations where I feel safety and trust, and openness and presence of the other person, which is, the divine in that person, making space in presenting a welcoming platform. Yes, you're safe here talking about things that are painful to you. Wow. Wow. And the whole thing about that is not only is it heard and cared about by the person who's listening, um, there's a the benefit of it is it's up and out. It's not all tangled up. It gets on the highway, instead of the back roads of the Ozarks or something. And it opens up, and it's like, okay, so really you have that issue too? Yeah, I do. Well, that's worth its weight in gold, and I think we're seeing more and more of this spring up, and actually see it amongst young people, in these groups of natural, environmental concerned people, sharing sharing who they are and what they're struggling with around what's happening to our earth. And inevitably it goes into more than that. It goes into what their lives are about, and so on and so forth, because the earth is saying, yeah, it's nice you're talking about me, but you're me too, so why don't you talk about you? And it happens, and it's really quite something. I'm going to say the indigenous cultures probably did that like second nature. They just did it all the time. Good thing we didn't totally annihilate the history of the indigenous cultures, because they have so much to teach us. We did try to annihilate them, but
Well, and we're still trying to annihilate them by the prison population is
yeah,
very highly swayed, or highly
afraid of them. They're afraid of them.
mm, mm,
The powers that be are afraid of the indigenous, because the indigenous know truths.
mhm.
That would really throw a wrench into the what do we call it? The corporate what do I want to call it? Oh, the corporate hooskow. I don't know.
The ivory tower. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But so the unawakened, um not brain, the unawakened person is very concentrated on differences and
Dualistic,
what's that?
dualistic,
Dualistic.
dualistic.
Yes, yes. Not instead of being at one, we're at odds. So
Yes.
dualistic, and anyone that's not exactly like me, which no one is suspect.
Yeah.
And if people have different hair color or they speak a different language, or that's going to be, you know, can't
Not
have
good.
any can't have any friendship, can't have any union there.
Right. Right.
Anyway, wow.
Yeah. 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 There go our getting together like this and recording it. Now, we met for a very, very, very long time without ever doing this, and then thought, well, gee, maybe what we talk about would be interest of other people, or if not that, at least it shows you can do this. You can have these conversations. Just find a person that you trust and that you love and that feels the same about you, and you've got it made. You've got a place where you can create a divine intervention.
Yeah, a place for the divine to rest, to
Yes.
uh, take up residence, or take up a comfy chair and hang
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Where two or more are gathered. Um, sounds good to me. I mean, inner, it's like a recharge on the battery. The battery gets really low, and geez, what's going on? And then you and I have a talk, and I'm like, oh, that's what's going on. We're humans. Oh, who knew?
Yeah.
And we're wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a blessing, and so often blessings come in the form of, not so glitzy, not so noticeable, not so apparent.
Yeah.
Just, two
Below the
people
radar.
below the
Mm.
radar, two people
Yeah.
coming together and um yeah, just being available to each other and enjoying one another.
Yeah. I think everyone, I would really be happy if I knew that everybody in this world had at least one friend that they could do that with. That would really be a powerful knowing.
And
I tend to think
that would change humanity.
it would. It would. It would. So maybe that's something we can think about. How do we get everyone in the world at least one good friend, human friend? They always have a friend in whatever their belief is. They have a belief of something spiritual, so they have that friend. But the the human exchange and the energy that happens just sort of brings a platform for the divine one, the universal intelligence, whatever people want to call it. It's like, yeah, you can join us. They don't, and the universal intelligence says, join you. I was already here. You guys joined me.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, this is as always, this has been
So
such a lovely talk, and I'm very grateful.
yes, as am I, very much. So until the next time.
Until the next Holy Compost, blessings and
Yes.
gratitude, and we'll talk to you
And
soon.
love.
And love.
Alrighty.
Okay, my dear.
Yes. Take care.
Okay.